The ships came dropping from the sky, not in stealth. The colony just didn't have the need to watch. Squat, ugly ships. Then they came out, like nothing seen or reported before. Tall, spiky, and dark. Short, thick tails. They held heavy rifles, but that wasn't the worst, as we later learned. They came and took people, loading them into ships. Endless numbers of ships, coming and going. For 3 days non-stop. Destruction in their wake. If a colonist resisted capture, without hesitation they would strike and kill, as likely to use their wicked, sharp-toothed mouths as their weapon. Big burnt holes in flesh or limbs, and flesh torn from the body. Dull, solid black eyes with their pitiless stare. After 3 days, she discovered they weren't creatures of the world. They were demons. She and her husband, her bond she exiled herself from her people for, heard the loud thump at the door, and with a tearing sound, it was ripped from its hinges. In it stood a great shadow, a spiked outline. As it stepped forward, the dark eyes, sharp teeth, and spiked skin materialized from the gloom. Her husband stepped forward to protect, and without hesitation, it bit. The huge head with jagged teeth bore down and shook, arms separated from body, flesh from chest, blood pooling. So much blood. In horror, she fled, through the window, into the street. She ran, knowing not where. She heard the sound, gunfire, rescue. She ran toward the sounds, into a building, and saw them. As she stepped forward, the soldier came to her and grabbed her, dragged her into a building, stunned at the new horror. This was not rescue. It was another demon sent for her. This place wasn't her home. She had been sent to hell, in the shape of her world. The soldier tore her robes, and she braced. Transfer. Maya woke with a start, throat tight from the nightmare. She thought she would choke. It was so tight. Then she felt Rain holding her, and as she looked up, he was looking back. Those eyes. The same eyes she saw that day, after she heard the words, "Stand down," and then the shot. She saw pain in those eyes. Pain for her. Pain for the soldier he had shot. Pain for a loss like hers, when he turned and called for another. She had to say it. Don't leave me. She didn't mean, don't leave me on this ruined colony. She meant, don't leave me here in hell. She felt, in her deepest parts, that if she died here, she would remain in torment forever. And now she saw those same eyes looking at her again, arms holding her, not letting go. What she saw that day and now was simple. She had to survive, and he was the only one who could lead her out, and she, for him. The Trident was alive with activity when Captain Rivera called them in, preparing for refit and dry dock, not shutting down yet, just preparing. Crew movement had shifted, lockers were being emptied, personal effects carried off ship, the quiet, practiced ritual of people preparing to live somewhere else. Captain Rivera stood as Lieutenant Rain entered. Sergeant Wolfe followed. Maya last. Rivera didn't waste time. Sit. They did. She tapped her console once, and a personnel packet appeared between them. Second Lieutenant Maya, Rivera said evenly, Terran Republic Expeditionary Forces. Maya didn't react. Rain did. Rivera raised a hand before he could finish his reaction. It's legal, she said. Clean, procedurally sound, based on colony education records, certifications, and emergency authority under extended deployment statutes. A pause. The only complication is where recruiting and commissioning occurred. Wolf leaned back slightly. Meaning? Rivera met Rain's eyes. If someone went digging, deep, there's no reason anyone would. Maya spoke calmly. It doesn't invalidate the rank. No, Rivera agreed. It complicates paperwork, not authority. Rivera turned her attention fully to Rain. She's your aide now, officially. Rain exhaled once. Slow. Maya said quietly, "Thank you, Captain." Rivera's mouth twitched. "Don't thank me yet." She changed the display. A ship schematic rotated into view. TRS Valkyrie, frigate class, expanded expeditionary configuration, 2 platoon pod. "Your new command," Rivera said. Wolf studied the image. Bigger than Trident. "Different," Rivera corrected. "Captain Alistair Havelock, career officer, tries to be by the book." A beat. Things slide with him, not incompetent, not imaginative. She looked at Rain carefully. "He's not me." "We don't expect him to be," Maya said smoothly, for Rain. "Good." Rivera nodded once. "Don't project Trident onto Valkyrie. It will get you in trouble." She leaned forward. "You'll meet him at 1700. Rain frowned slightly. Rivera's gaze sharpened. "Your orders are straightforward. Redeployment, integration, expeditionary readiness." Her voice softened just a fraction. "And Rain, you're doing something necessary. That doesn't mean it'll be welcomed." Rain stood and nodded. Wolf added evenly, "We know you and Trident are different. Everything else is the same." Rivera smiled fully this time. "Exactly." The Valkyrie's docking bay was louder than Trident's. Not chaotic, just busy. More people, more motion, more noise. Rain noticed it immediately. Maya did too. Wolf didn't comment. The officer of the deck accepted the platoon packet from Maya without hesitation. "Captain will see you at 1700, he said. "Your platoon's assigned Expeditionary Pod B." "The other platoon?" Wolf asked. The OOD hesitated. "Yes, Sergeant. They're already embarked." Maya caught the hesitation. "What's missing?" she asked gently. The OOD exhaled. "Their lieutenant." No elaboration. No need. Captain Havelock was exactly as Rivera had described. Tall, clean uniform, controlled posture, neutral expression sharpened by evaluation. Rain stood at attention. Wolf and Maya stood beside him. Havelock's eyes flicked to them. Irritation, brief but visible, then discipline reasserted. "Lieutenant Rain," Havelock said. "I expected you alone." Rain didn't answer. Maya did. "Second Lieutenant Maya, sir, assigned as Lieutenant Rain's aide." Havelock's gaze lingered on her insignia a fraction too long. Then he nodded. "Very well." Wolf inclined his head slightly. "Platoon Sergeant Wolf. Ghost Platoon." Havelock turned back to Rain. "You'll find Valkyrie runs by standard doctrine, expeditionary flexibility within approved limits." "Yes, sir." Havelock studied him. "You have a reputation, Rain met his eyes calmly, then raised an eyebrow as if unsurprised. A long pause. Havelock waved a hand. Dismissed. Then, as an afterthought, Lieutenant Rain, you're in command of both platoons. Your counterpart was a casualty in our last engagement. Rain didn't react. You have 3 weeks to integrate, Havelock continued. Then we deploy. Minimum 18-month assignment. As they turned to leave, Havelock added, and Lieutenant. Rain stopped. I don't care how Trident did things. Rain nodded once. A low sound escaped him before he could stop it. Not a growl, but close. Havelock's eyes narrowed. He said nothing. The expeditionary pod was larger than Trident's. 2 platoon bays, shared maintenance space, equipment racks twice as deep. The other platoon was already assembled. At their center stood a Sergeant Wolf recognized instantly. Sergeant Ellen Ward. Their eyes met. A long, silent assessment passed between them. Then Wolf smiled. Not wide. Certain. She crossed the space and stopped in front of him. You still breathing? She said. Mostly, Wolf replied. We've seen some things, changed some others. I'll tell you once the LT and 2nd Louis are settled. Show Ghost where they're at. Ellen gave him a long look and nodded, suddenly more serious. Wolf followed Rain and Maya to one of the 2 staterooms on opposite sides of the pod. Wolf started, in all seriousness, and pointed to the door. She's with me now. Rain knew what with me now meant. Maya nodded. You 2 can take the other stateroom. Rain nodded confirmation, as if the words were his. Wolf smiled. I'll get them in our stateroom settled. Rain raised an eyebrow at Maya. Maya, no mockery, mostly a little tease, smiled, and in Rain's tone and cadence, quietly, just for him. I don't think I have seen him actually smile before. Then, in her own voice, she answered, I haven't either. She stared with a grin that said, I went there. What are you going to do about it? Rain just rolled his eyes. Maya came and went a few times from the stateroom. Rain did his customary clean, organize, fix, and transform the space till it was ready. It would take more time than before, but the transformation was clear, if not complete. Maya stated aloud, 0600 start tomorrow. They will be ready. And lay down on their shared bed, shared for sleeping. More was too much for both of them. 0600. Rain was in place. Maya beside him. Wolf and Ward to the side. The rest of Ghost already in place, with a few stragglers from the others filing in. Ward's face darkened slightly. Ghost had been briefing the other platoon what to expect, but they were still the old expeditionary. The new had to be lived to be understood. Their way was a lived way, not just learned. Rain, with ultimate focus, started in a low, strained voice. This is our life now. You are with us. All in. Rain loosened slightly, gaining momentum. We are a new way. Ghost will show you. You are not Ghost. You will be something different. The world will tell us what that is. Rain stopped. Maya started. Valkyrie is our responsibility. Our world. We deploy in 3 weeks. If this isn't right for you, now is the time to find your way off. Today, go through your equipment, your inventory. Strip and rebuild everything you carry. A murmur rippled from half the room. Wolf then stated, low voice, ranks straining to hear. First PT. Wolf started the cadence and movements. Ward called the next, and they alternated. They followed Rain's cues. Rain showed them how he got his name. After hours, Rain stood to attention. Condensation dripping from the ceiling. 2 platoons, working, driving temperatures up, till the life support couldn't keep up. Wolf popped up as well. Then Ward. Ghost was challenged and tired, but satisfied. The rest, including Maya, were in collapse on the ground in exhaustion. Wolf stated, 15 minutes rest and change. Coveralls. We start with armor. Rain managed again. You own your gear. You maintain it. You trust it because you built it. Silence followed. Then movement. They changed quickly and reassembled in the common area. Rain and Ghost ready with their armor and tools. The others struggling to keep up and have their tools ready. Armor plates unclipped. The sound of ownership beginning. They followed with weapons and the rest of their gear, each piece meticulously made theirs. Last, Wolf and Ward gave both platoons orders to do the same with everything, emphasizing everything in the pod without exception. Ghost showed the others where to start, and both platoons worked together. The first day ran late. Nothing done to time, but results. More was still needed, but this was enough. Like Rain's stateroom, change enough. Significant, not complete. That evening, transfer orders came. 3 soldiers out, 1 by request, 1 routine, 1 ghost, unwilling. His companion stayed. She stood very still when she read the notice. Then she folded it carefully. Once, twice. Looked up at him. You're going regular expeditionary, she said quietly. You'll be fine. He shook his head once. No. She stepped closer. You will, she insisted. You always are. A pause. Wait for me. He pressed his forehead to hers, hard enough that it almost hurt. Take another, he whispered. Tell them the truth. Her breath caught. Maybe someone who hasn't found their one yet. He swallowed. Tell them we'll find a way. She nodded, couldn't speak. A tear slipped free, then another. She didn't wipe them away. Another soldier stepped forward. No companion. Older, scarred, calm. I understand, he said. Let it be me. He turned to the couple, placed his fist over his heart, then spoke the old words. She will be mine in safety. My eyes, my legs, my arms. My strength for her weakness, and she mine, until she is yours again. No one mocked it. No one looked away. They separated quietly. The couple walked together toward their quarters, slow, holding hands too tightly. The third soldier packed alone, methodically, didn't say goodbye. Just left. Maya leaned closer to Rain, voice low. You see it? Yes. Transfers, she continued. People moved. Bonds broken by orders. Ranks will do it again. Rain didn't respond. She watched Wolf and Ward work together. Natural, unremarkable. When this deployment ends, Maya said quietly, it will hurt more than it has to. Rain finally looked at her. You're saying I need to solve this. No, Maya corrected gently. You will solve it, or it will solve itself badly. Caleb and Ellen will be hit hardest, she said quietly. Rain gave a surprised look. Maya looked shocked. Then, in Rain's own tone, so quietly only he could hear. Maya? Caleb? Wolf's name is Caleb? Then, in her own voice, she answered as if Rain had spoken aloud. Really, Rain? You didn't know Wolf's name was Caleb? All this time holding each other's lives in your hands, and you learn it now. Maya shook her head in exasperation and mumbled something about men. Rain looked at her with that scowl, not sure what bothered him more, the teasing or her being eerily accurate with his thoughts. He then watched his platoon working, listening, becoming quiet. We'll talk later, he said. Maya nodded. She had said what needed saying, for now. At 0500, the day began. Across the barracks and the pod, soldiers stirred into motion. Each followed their own sequence of preparation, their own rhythm. The pod did not have enough facilities for an entire platoon to shower, shave, dress, and prepare simultaneously for a 0600 start. So the routines formed naturally. Some rose earlier, preferring the quiet hours before competition for space and food. Others waited, working around congestion. Each found their place in time. By 0600, all were in formation and ready. Rain always woke first. Maya lingered. Coming back from dreams took effort. It always had. They returned together, touching, grounding each other, ensuring they were fully present. This morning, she was slower than usual. Her muscles still burned from the previous day's training. She did not pity herself. She needed it. When she woke, it felt as though the dreams could kill if she stayed in them too long. So she endured the pain. Pain was easy. Pain meant survival. Pain meant Rain survived. Rain watched her quietly. No sympathy for discomfort, only recognition of shared purpose. Over the past weeks, another habit had formed. Rain's hair had grown long enough to braid. The sides were kept shaved, necessary for helmet seals and head-mounted systems. Anything thicker interfered with pressure and alignment. The length along the crown was braided tight, easily secured inside seals when donned, hanging down his back otherwise. Maya wore the same style. It was practical. It had meaning. It was intimidating. And it was distinctly theirs. By the second week, half of Ghost had adopted it. By the third, nearly all. It made their gear fit better. It reduced fatigue. It held under stress. Later, Ward's platoon developed their own variations. Different patterns, different wraps, functional but distinct. Anyone who saw the long braid knew. Ghost or Ward. Rain and Maya met the platoon in formation. Wolf and Ward stood to the side. 3 new recruits waited at the rear. Rain nodded. Ward stepped forward. Platoon, we have 3 new recruits. They will be brought into the companion system. Make sure they are integrated. Gear run through until it feels like part of them. She paused. We will say the creed. Her voice was calm. Companions. When they fail, you fail. When you fail, they fail. They will be strength to your weakness. Your legs when yours fail. Your eyes when yours dim. Your voice when yours breaks. From now on, you go everywhere together. You have 1 week to decide. Make honest choices. All pairings will be registered, no doubt. No ambiguity. The formation responded as one. Wolf and Maya returned to their workspace. 3 weeks of preparation began. Requisitions, storage, fabrication, diagnostics, medical stock, calibration benches, spare systems. They rebuilt the pod, not to standard, to ghost standard. Once requests were sent, integration began. Companions formed. Training intensified. It became routine. Only broken when Rain received a message from the XO, not an order, a request. Rain brought Maya. He always did. They entered the XO's stateroom. The door was open. Commander Julian Mercer stood over his terminal, dictating to the ship's AI. Without looking up, he gestured them inside. Rain. Maya. He turned. Julian Mercer, thank you for coming. Maya shook his hand, then nudged Rain. Rain followed. Commander, Maya began, how can we help? Between us, he replied. Julian. He gestured to the display. The CO has flagged your requisitions. I need to understand them. Rain nodded. Maya answered. Ghost and Ward's platoon will handle internal maintenance completely. No routine ship support. No outside repairs unless we breach hull integrity. And the rest? Mercer asked. Capability expansion. He considered. I'll route some through ship orders. The rest I'll approve personally. And if it's questioned, I'll absorb it. Rain gave a low sound that passed for thanks. It still sounded like a growl. Maya came to attention. Thank you, sir. Send future requests directly to me, Mercer said, unless I'm overridden. He glanced upward. They understood. The remaining weeks passed. Ward's platoon became a mirror of Ghost, all paired. No transfers requested. One recruit recognized Rain from recruit training and chose early. The pod reached full capability. Fabrication operational. Diagnostics complete. Supplies arrived as promised. The day before deployment, the platoon assembled. Rain and Maya stood front and center. Wolf and Ward flanked. Each soldier stood beside their companion, evenly spaced. Rain nodded. Maya stepped forward. Undocking tomorrow, 1300, standard start 06. Liberty begins now. Silence, then confusion. Wolf grinned. Didn't you hear? Dismissed. 20 pairs dispersed instantly. Civilian clothes emerged from lockers. Forgotten memories pulled from lives that no longer fit. Out of fashion, out of context. No one cared. They were what they were. They left while the ship was still working. Before general liberty, it did not go unnoticed. Rain and Maya tested their own liberty. They left Valkyrie. They went to the station. They lasted hours, longer than Rain expected. The concourse was overwhelming. Light, sound, motion, advertisements, music, announcements, laughter. Too much. People blocked walkways for photos. Others walked blind to screens. Inattention. Lack of awareness. Fatal habits. All details were supposed to be noticed, catalogued, compensated for. This place drowned in unnecessary motion and noise. They could not filter it. They would not blind themselves into enjoyment. Maya slowed first. Rain matched her. They tried to sit, tried to drink, failed. Every sound demanded attention. Every movement pressed close. They watched. Two men leaning together. Two women arm in arm. Mixed couples arguing quietly. Friends clinging. Companions searching for temporary intimacy. Others hurrying toward privacy. No pattern. Just proximity. Everyone trying to take something with them before 18 months erased it. Maya looked at Rain. He nodded. They left. The shuttle was quiet. The pod sealed. The hum returned. Home. Next morning. Formation. Two were missing. Rain's eyes flicked to Wolf and Ward. Ward stepped forward. Minor alcohol incident. CO wants an example. Rain nodded once. He looked back at the formation. Some looked haggard. Red eyes, stiff movements. Too little sleep. Too much drink. No one commented. No one mocked. It was expected. Pre-deployment liberty always left its mark. The exhaustion was temporary. The lesson permanent. They would pay for it in PT, and it would be worth it. They stood anyway. Straight, present. Wolf. Take PT! Wolf's voice cracked. Form up. Cadence followed. 36 voices answered. No hesitation, no resentment. They moved. They strained. They burned it out. By the time Rain and Maya left for the CO's quarters, the platoon was already resetting. Outside the CO's cabin, two soldiers stood at attention. They looked hollow. One dropped to his knees. Rain shook his head. He did not need the apology. Maya said gently, "It's not us you need forgiveness from." The door opened. The CO stood rigid inside. "You have dishonored this ship." The words were sharp, practiced. The soldier bowed. "Yes, sir. We shamed Lieutenant Rain, Second Maya, Sergeant Ward, and the ship." The CO noticed the order. His jaw tightened. "You shamed the ship and its crew. What do you have to say for yourself?" "Sir, I am guilty. I have shamed all of you. Do you forgive me?" No defense. No explanation. The question landed wrong. It stripped him of leverage. "Forgive?" the CO snapped. "Reduction in rate. Half month's pay. ×2. Suspension pending 1 year without incident." The XO shifted. "Captain." Rain lifted one finger. No. The XO stopped. The second soldier stepped forward. "He is my companion. If he failed, I failed." That made the CO angrier. He applied the penalty to both, mostly for her speaking. "Thank you, sir," they said together. They meant it. The CO felt robbed. In the XO's office, paperwork followed. The XO began to speak. Ward stopped him. "Let them feel it. It is a kindness." The XO studied her, then processed the orders. He didn't understand, but he trusted. They signed. They thanked him. Not bitterly, not sarcastically, gratefully. Because it was finished. Because they could move on. They returned to the pod. Word spread. Nothing on a ship stayed private. The crew watched, whispered. Honor, discipline, unity. They said Ward's soldiers were like paladins from old stories, bound by oath, bound by duty. So Ward's platoon found its name, Paladin, and the name remained. At 0500, Rain woke. He always did. Maya did not. She was tangled in dreams again. Her breathing was shallow. Her hands clenched and released against the mattress. A low sound escaped her throat, half breath, half cry. Rain turned toward her. He wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "Hey," he murmured. She did not hear him. Her body stiffened. Then she struck. Her hand raked across his face. Pain flashed. Warmth followed. He froze. Maya gasped awake. She stared at him, at the blood. Her face drained. "Oh, Rain!" She recoiled. Her hands trembled. I didn't." He caught her wrists gently. "You can't," he said. His voice was rough. She stared. He raised his free hand and began to sign. Slowly, carefully. "You can't hurt me." He touched his cheek. "This is nothing." Her breath broke. "I hurt you." "Own it," he said quietly. "Don't run." She shook her head. Tears welled. He pulled her into him, held her. She clutched his shirt. They stayed that way until her breathing steadied, until the tremors stopped. When he finally stood, blood had dried along his jaw. He washed it away. The mark remained. Ward and Wolf were waiting outside. They saw his face. They looked at the door. Rain shook his head. No. They nodded. No questions. Morning routine resumed. No one commented. No one stared. No one asked. They formed. They trained. They worked. As always. The cut happened mid-morning. Rain was adjusting a mounting bracket on the diagnostic bench when the tool slipped. Metal bit flesh. Deep. He watched blood spill across his glove. "Damn," he murmured. He wrapped it, finished the task, then went to medical. The corpsman looked up. "Sit." Rain sat. The man peeled away the cloth, whistled. "That's a good one." He prepped a syringe. Local anesthetic. Rain nodded. The injection burned, then faded. "Feel that?" the corpsman asked, pressing. "Yes." The man frowned. Again. Another dose. Nothing. Strange. He studied Rain. "Let's see how far this goes. I want to put you under. Is that okay?" Rain nodded. "If you go under, we'll take care of the hand too. A little overkill, but we learned something." He pointed to a bed. "Lie down." Rain did. "We'll start with a normal dose. Then we'll raise it gradually." The mask descended. Gas flowed. Minutes passed. "Anything?" "I'm awake," Rain said. The corpsman sighed. "Of course you are." He checked his tablet. Increasing dose. Again. Then he stopped. "I can't go higher. I don't think a stronger dose would hurt you, but I'm not here to experiment." He made a note. Rain shrugged. "I guess we do this the hard way." The corpsman grinned. "At least for you." "All right. Hold still." The needle pierced. Thread followed. Rain stared at the ceiling. Did not move. When it was over, the corpsman wrapped the wound. "You're unusual," he said. "Not unheard of, but unusual." Another side effect, Rain thought. What else was hiding inside him? At 1300, the wardroom filled. Officers took seats. Enlisted lined the bulkhead. The doors opened. Expeditionary entered, armored, sealed, ready. Whispers followed. Rain and Maya sat at the table. The CO began, then deferred. Navigator. The nav stood, projected the route. Gate transit to Sector 8, then jump cycles along patrol lanes. Hrithi activity elevated. No confirmed hostilities. He paused. Maya spoke. We shouldn't be using gates. Silence fell. The CO stiffened. Second Lieutenant, that is outside your... Rain raised his fist. The room locked. Maya stopped. Before the CO could continue, the XO leaned forward slightly. Captain, he said evenly, expeditionary doctrine allows threat assessments from field leadership. He turned toward Maya. Go ahead, Lieutenant. Maya inhaled. Continued. Every system has eyes, even in Terran space. Gate spikes are visible. We're painting ourselves. She met the CO's gaze. We are your security. We will brief you this way. The CO's jaw tightened. The XO spoke again. Navigation. Gate fluctuation visibility profile. The nav hesitated. Hi, sir. Compared to jump only? Significantly higher. The XO nodded once. Noted. He looked back to the CO. Risk documented, sir. The CO flushed, then cleared his throat. Procedurally, this is allowed. It reduces crew stress, enables 4-section watches. It will cut on-station patrol sheet time. He looked around. It's better for morale. Rain shook his head slightly. No. Maya saw. So did Ward. So did Wolf. The XO noticed. They said nothing. They understood more discussion wouldn't help. Departments briefed. Expeditionary last. Maya stood. Nothing further? The meeting broke. Lieutenant Rain, the CO said. Stay. He gestured. Maya, Ward, Wolf, dismissed. Rain didn't move. The XO glanced at him, almost imperceptibly. They all stayed. The CO's jaw tightened. Your methods, your culture, this isn't standard Navy. He took a breath. And don't give me that expeditionary responsibility crap. Expeditionary is part of the Navy. Maya spoke quietly. It already happens, sir. We just don't lie about it. He scoffed. She continued. Our honesty prevents favoritism, prevents abuse. The companion system protects everyone. Silence followed. Maya added softly, Your crew does the same. Everyone looks away. Rain rasped. We don't blind ourselves for ease and convenience, ever. The CO exhaled sharply. I'm filing the report. The XO shifted. Captain, he said calmly, I'll frame it as a procedural review, operational culture, risk management. The CO hesitated, then nodded once. Fine. He stood, dismissed them. Outside, the XO stopped Rain briefly. You weren't wrong, he said quietly. Rain waited. But his world isn't ready for that kind of honesty, the XO added. I'm going to arrange access to nav and sensor feeds. Rain inclined his head. Understood, Maya said. Valkyrie entered the gate 2 hours later. Space twisted, light folded. The gate's energy pulsed, recording their movement. All gates tracked passage, far away. Eyes turned. Expeditionary increased patrols. Watch teams rotated. Feeds were reviewed. Nothing was missed. Nothing was trusted. 2 weeks later, Rain studied his reflection. The scar on his cheek had faded. Maya was silently relieved, although Rain had said, "Own it." Every time she saw the mark, her heart lurched. The living reminder was fading, nearly gone. He touched it, as Maya watched him. "It's healing fast," she said softly. "Even your hand." "Yes." She frowned. No angry red at the edges, like normal, he rasped. He wondered, what else was changing? In every system, traffic seemed to bend toward their path. The farther they traveled, the clearer it became. It could have been curiosity. It could have been coincidence. No one believed that. In daily briefings, it surfaced, quietly, sensor patterns, traffic clusters, unusual observation windows. The CO defended the route. "It's my prerogative." He hardened his stance, refused adjustment. In one meeting, he said idly, "Everybody knows we have jump ships. It's good to remind them sometimes." No one replied. After that, requests shifted. Maintenance overrides, sensor reallocations, watch modifications, all routed through operations, all routed to the XO. All approved. Quietly, without comment. The CO either didn't notice or didn't care. Nothing was said. After 4 weeks and 8 gates, they arrived 1 sector from their destination. This time, Valkyrie moved outside normal transit lanes to the system's edge. Once clear of mass, they jumped. Valkyrie emerged from jump at 0327 ship time. Space unfolded. Stars snapped back into place. Inertial compensators settled. Power stabilized. The system was designated Kipri 19, a yellow-white primary, 8 major bodies, 2 gas giants, 1 inhabited relay station on the far edge. No permanent settlements, no sovereign claims. Neutral territory, a transit system, a place ships passed through. Not a place they stayed, which was why they were there. Minutes later, the general address system chimed. Once. Then the captain's voice filled the ship. "Attention all hands. We are now on station for reconnaissance operations. Mission parameters remain unchanged. Maintain standard readiness. Department heads will report as scheduled. This is a routine patrol. Carry on." The channel closed. Across Valkyrie, routines resumed. Checks, logs, sensor sweeps, watch rotations. Nothing unusual. Rain stood in expeditionary control, helmet off, hands resting lightly on the console. Maya sat beside him, reviewing passive feeds. Wolf and Ward monitored internal security overlays. Everything looked clean. Too clean. They began their slow burn toward the system's inner mass, closer to the primary, closer to traffic lanes, closer to gravity wells, closer to interference, closer to visibility, navigation-adjusted vectors. Sensors recalibrated, passive arrays widened. At 40% transit, the contact appeared. "Contact, starboard quarter," the sensor operator said quietly. "New signature, bearing 097. High acceleration." The plot resolved. A single vessel, gate hull configuration, non-Terran design, Hrithi. The bridge went still. Range? The CO asked. Closing fast, sir. They're running hot. How fast? Faster than us. The projection updated. The Hrithi ship was not intercepting. It was positioning, sliding laterally, cutting across Valkyrie's vector, claiming space. Intent? The XO asked. No weapons lock, the weapons officer replied. No emissions spike. Yet, Rain murmured. The Hrithi vessel adjusted again. Closer, inside long-range margins, inside comfortable margins, inside warning margins, then inside mass contact range. The jump envelope flickered on Nav's display. Margins narrowed, calculations updated, error bars grew. Captain, navigation said carefully, jump viability degrading. How long? The CO asked. Minutes, sir, maybe less. Evasive pattern, the CO ordered. Increase lateral separation. Thrusters fired. Valkyrie rolled. Adjusted, shifted vector. The Hrithi ship matched it, effortlessly. Sir, the XO said quietly, they're reading us in real time. Try again, the CO said. Another maneuver, another correction, another mirror. The distance did not open. It shrank. Jump window? The CO asked. Nav hesitated. Risk rising. Still possible, but... But what? But it won't stay that way. Silence settled on the bridge. The Hrithi ship drifted closer, not aggressively, not threateningly. Precisely. As if placing a hand on Valkyrie's shoulder, holding her in place. Communications, the CO said. Open channel. The XO glanced at Rain. Rain was already watching the tactical overlays, already calculating, already preparing. They had waited too long. The XO spoke, overriding the silence. Max burn. Head for the nearest favorable mass vector. Nobody questioned the order. Nav fed updates. Clearing inner mass in 40 minutes. Envelope stabilizing. Projected jump margin at exit, 12%. The XO nodded. Acceptable. Rain glanced at the display and left for the expeditionary POD. It was. Not safe, but workable. Then, the Hrithi ship shifted. Mass shadow widened. Calculations degraded. Margin collapsing, Nav said. 6%. 4. 2. Red flooded the display. Jump no longer viable. Silence followed. They had almost made it. Almost. The CO gave no orders. He stared at the displays as if waiting for an option to appear. The XO continued trying solutions, not expecting success, refusing to stop. Sir, Com said, the Hrithi are hailing us. Put them on, the XO said. Yes, sir. Audio only. A translated voice sounded. Terran vessel. You have violated Hrithi space. Slow speed and prepare to be boarded. Your crew will be safe and escorted to Terran space. Much was left unsaid. Rain signaled Ward and Wolf in the expeditionary pod. Both platoons moved instantly. Gear, formation, weapons checked. Back on T, he CO finally spoke. I won't risk my crew. Slow and allow boarding. Valkyrie reduced speed. Stabilized. The Hrithi vessel closed. Matched velocity. and aligned. A heavy vibration ran through the hull. Docked. "Sir," Nav reported. "Hrithi docked. Rain and Expeditionary are at the airlock." The CO's face flushed. "Get arms! Follow me!" "Nav, you have the deck." The XO followed. Rain watched through the airlock viewport. Voice calm. Focused. Deadly, the impending violence making his speech easier. "We wait until they commit. Once they open, they can't disengage." "Rain, stand down." The CO's voice rang out. "That's an order." Rain turned. No anger. No hesitation. Regulation on jump-capable vessels. Subsection on capture and foreign inspection. Under no circumstances will a jump-capable vessel be surrendered or inspected. Captain and crew will prevent capture, including through their own deaths. Everyone knew the clause. No one ever expected to invoke it. Rain met the CO's eyes. "You are relieved from command. XO, any objection?" "No, sir." For half a second, Rain felt the weight of it. Not authority. The cost. Then it was gone. There was work to do. The armed crew raised their hands. Not resisting, confronting Expeditionary was the last thing on their minds. Rain nodded. "Brigadier." The CO found his voice. "I'll ruin you." No one reacted. The companions escorted him away. "Hrithi must disappear," Rain said, quietly. "XO, jam outgoing comms." "Understood." "Maya, stay here." "No." Rain tilted his head. Final. Ward and Wolf issued quiet orders. Positions, angles, kill lanes. The Hrithi airlock opened. Air hissed through the transfer chamber. 4 figures emerged slowly, spider-like, deliberate. Their compartment was round and curved, in contrast to Valkyrie's square, angular structure. The geometry itself clashed. The Hrithi moved on 4 primary walking appendages, jointed backward at sharp angles. Above them, 4 additional arms unfolded with careful precision, 2 gripping compact, asymmetrical weapons, the others held close to their bodies. Their fur was dense and glossy black, absorbing light. Bands of deep red marked every major joint and limb junction, like living warning stripes. Each step made the markings shift and ripple. 4 dark eyes, 2 larger facing forward, crowned each head, arranged in a shallow arc. They reflected no light, only movement. Long, sharp fangs hung down, hidden behind black fur. Below the thorax, a small abdomen section trailed behind, flexible and armored, swaying slightly as they advanced. They did not rush. They did not hesitate. They moved like professionals, like a boarding team that had done this before. The Terran airlock slid open. Blue flashes. 4 bodies dropped. Ghost surged forward. 2 more Hrithi fell. Wolf advanced. Ward took Paladin aft. Rain led. Armed Hrithi resisted. Others fled. They began to notice variations as they pushed deeper. Differences in fur and banding. Some bore broader red markings along their limbs. Others carried muted patterns, almost gray beneath the black. Some had reinforced joint plates. Others were lightly armored, rank, function, caste. It was impossible to know which. Only that some were trained for this, and some were not. After the second encounter, alarms sounded. The Hrithi locked down. The delay from first contact to alarms was telling. Too long. Communications were sluggish. The Hrithi had been caught off guard. Every door became a breach. Squads split. Command center identified. Airlock crews fought to prevent separation. One breach failed. A soldier fell. His companion charged. Died with him. No hesitation. No retreat. Breaching continued. Paladin and half of Ghost shifted to extermination. No survivors. Ugly, necessary. At the ornate door, Rain signaled. "Command!" The door blew. A soldier fell as shots flashed out. His companion started to lose control. Rain caught her, hands holding her face, gently but firm. He stared into her eyes, making sure she saw his back. Took a round to his back while Wolf and Ghost rushed in, held her steady. "Look at me," he said. "Maya and I will help you. This isn't the end." She stared into his eyes and saw the pain she now understood. She collapsed. She lived. Command center cleared. 30 bodies, arms and legs curled tightly to their dead bodies. A gold-furred Hrithi stood surrendering. Rain shot him, no one commented. Search continued. No survivors. Systems were patched. Commands planted. 2 Paladin lost. 3 Ghost. Maya met Rain at the airlock and rushed to hold him, too long separated. She noticed the wound. She struggled to keep down the emotions. Medical. Now. No argument. The XO, Ward, and Wolf waited in medical. Half the wounded tried to avoid treatment. Their companions forced them. Doc worked on Rain without anesthesia, already knowing it was useless. Rain endured. "What now?" the XO asked. Wolf answered. "Ship is programmed for stellar insertion. Atmosphere vented on separation to ensure no survivors." Rain grunted. "We follow it." Valkyrie disengaged. The Hrithi ship accelerated. Toward the star. Valkyrie shadowed it, scanned, verified, until it vanished into light. Gone. No announcement was made, no ceremony followed, no speeches were given. Command simply shifted, by regulation, by necessity, by silence. Commander Julian Mercer became acting commanding officer. Operations Officer Hale, next in rank and seniority, assumed the role of acting executive officer. No one objected. No one needed to. Within 2 hours of separation from the Hrithi vessel, the reports were compiled. Not summaries, not interpretations. Everything. Full sensor logs. Bridge recordings. AI reconstruction. Internal audio. External telemetry. Helmet feeds. Biometric overlays. Weapons telemetry. Impact logs. Hull stress maps. Every second. Every decision, every order. Rain insisted on it. Not out of defensiveness, but out of principle. If they were judged, they would be judged on truth. Not narrative, not convenience, not politics. The Valkyrie's AI compiled the packet and transmitted it through 3 encrypted channels. Expeditionary Command. Fleet Operations. Strategic Oversight. Command level only. No intermediaries. No edits. Mercer reviewed it once. Maya reviewed it twice. Rain did not review it at all. He already knew what it contained. The extermination. The command center executions. The gold-furred Hrithi, the bodies. The silence afterward. He wanted it seen. He wanted the cost visible. He wanted command to confront what poor leadership had caused. The necessity for the Hrithi to disappear. Transmission confirmed. Then nothing. No acknowledgement, no inquiry, no clarification, no reprimand, no recall, no commendation, no condemnation. Days passed. Valkyrie remained on station, by default, by choice, by omission. Mercer ordered full-spectrum patrol operations, maximum stealth, passive arrays only, thermal masking, signature suppression, deep sensor sweeps, gravitational tracking, comms intercept, shadow routing. If the Hrithi were coming, they would see them first. They never came. No patrols, no probes, no investigation craft, no diplomatic inquiries. The system remained quiet, as if nothing had happened, as if a ship had not vanished into its star, as if 2 platoons had not burned through a foreign hull. Across Valkyrie, unease spread quietly. In mess halls, in maintenance bays, in passageway corners, crew whispered. They had expected recall, escort, inquiry, courts, politics, something. Relieving a captain in the field was rare. Under fire was almost unheard of. Executing a boarding force was unprecedented, yet they stayed. On patrol, on schedule, on mission. Some officers questioned it privately. This is too big. They'll pull us back. They have to. Command won't let this stand. But concern for Havelock faded quickly. Not out of cruelty, out of clarity. No one spoke badly of him. They didn't need to. They had lived under him, seen the hesitation, the insecurity, the performative discipline, the fear disguised as authority. They had watched him freeze when it mattered. They had felt the consequences. Then they lived under Mercer and Hale, under competence, under consistency, under leadership that didn't need to announce itself. Orders made sense. Support arrived on time. Problems were solved instead of staged. Risk was managed instead of avoided. Every smooth evolution, every resolved incident, every calm shift change. Evidence, quiet, relentless, irrefutable. No one said he deserved it. Every successful day said it for them. They worked, they trusted, they slept better. And in that, they rendered judgment. Mercer listened and said nothing. Neither did Rain or Maya. They had already understood. This was containment. Keep Valkyrie normal. Keep her quiet. Let time absorb the shock. Let routine bury controversy. An early return would draw attention. A hearing would create witnesses. Staying put kept it small. Meanwhile, the crew adapted and thrived. Discipline became consistent. Accountability predictable. Support reliable, no ego, no theatrics. Mistakes were corrected, not weaponized. Morale rose. Efficiency increased. Valkyrie became what she was meant to be. A ship, not a stage. Expeditionary withdrew deliberately into rhythm and routine. They took one day, one, for the dead. 5 names, 5 companions, 5 empty bunks. No ceremony, just silence. Then training resumed. Mourning too long eroded readiness. Erosion killed people. They had learned that long ago. They were expeditionary. Death was not abstract. 5 lost, hundreds destroyed. In corridors, in pressure zones, in their own territory. Proof, not of brutality, but of capability. Ghost and Paladin had become lethal. They had earned it. Days later, the reply arrived. Encrypted. Minimal. Deliver Captain Havelock to nearest Terran Navy station. Resume patrol, CO and XO appointments approved. No inquiry, no review, no follow-up, just endorsement wrapped in indifference. Mercer exhaled. Rain nodded once. Maya was unsurprised. They had known. This was not forgiveness. It was acceptance. Institutional. Valkyrie was more valuable operationally than controversial politically. The incident would be archived, classified, deferred. Havelock would vanish into procedure. He would never command again. He would never be punished publicly either. Quiet removal, quiet resolution, containment. Valkyrie altered course for one station, one transfer, one signature, then back to patrol. Days into the silence, the thought surfaced, not as panic, but as analysis. Rain and Mercer stood in expeditionary control during late shift. Lights dimmed, passive arrays whispering. Maya leaned against the bulkhead beside Rain, quiet while he thought. Mercer said, 15 months. Minimum, Rain replied. That's a gift, Maya said softly. Time. Unopposed. To build a case, Mercer said. To build a story, she corrected. She stepped closer to Rain. He'll rewrite it, protect himself, frame hesitation as caution, failure as restraint, indecision as professionalism. He'll say Rain overstepped, that Mercer enabled it, that extermination was excessive. He'll work every angle, Mercer said. Yes, Maya replied, but blind. Because he doesn't know what we sent, Mercer said. Or whose feeds, she added. Or that Rain recorded everything. He'll assume we controlled it, Rain said finally. Because that's what he would have done, Maya answered. He won't prepare for the truth, Mercer said. And that's what he can't fight, she replied. Later, when the transfer order arrived, none of them were surprised. The docking was routine. 2 companions, standard restraints. No spectacle. Havelock walked out, stiff-backed, silent. No speeches, no apologies, no eye contact. Bags with his uniforms and personal items already waited in the corridor. Transfer signed, custody accepted. Gone, like Trident's XO, only colder. Valkyrie disengaged, stealth protocols returned. On station again. Rain watched the station fade. Maya stood close enough that their shoulders touched. He'll fight it, Mercer said. Yes, Maya replied. And someday we'll answer. Rain nodded once. Valkyrie slipped back into the dark. One evening, as Rain and Maya returned to their stateroom, Maya quietly examined the wound on his back. Her touch was gentle, careful. After a moment, she spoke in his voice. Maya, I had to leave someone I trusted behind at the airlock. Then, in her own voice, Rain, you didn't. Any of Ghost or Paladin could have been trusted. She paused, returned to his voice again. Maya, it was... She interrupted herself. Her voice shifted back. I'm not leaving your side again, she said quietly. No matter the danger. We live together, or we don't. Together. Rain answered with a low growl. Not anger, recognition. He pulled her close, held her, anchored. She meant it. And he knew it. There were no incidents in the remaining 14 months. No engagements, No boardings, no standoffs, no emergencies. Just patrol. Routine. Precision. Quiet. Valkyrie remained on station. By choice. By efficiency. By momentum. Returning immediately would have been faster. Proper departure protocols would have provided direct coordinates to Arclight Station. 2 jumps. In theory, Valkyrie, with the right coordinates, could have reached Arclight in a single jump. Her systems were capable. But Fleet Protocol limited long-range jumps to 4 systems per transit. A hard rule. Written in blood. Navigation errors. Sensor drift. Micro-mass distortions. One mistake at extreme range meant disappearance. They stayed. And when they finally left, they returned the long way. System to system. Gate to gate. 8 jumps instead of 2. No one complained. Morale was high. Performance was higher. They had become a machine. During patrol, they learned the system, not abstractly, intimately. Traffic patterns, transit windows, mass fluctuations, thermal signatures, comms latency. They mapped everything. 3 primary gates defined the system, one toward Terran space, one toward Hrethi territory, one toward mixed neutral sectors, independent multi-species trade routes. Most traffic used the third. Merchants, couriers, private transports, survey craft. Traffic toward Terran and Hrethi space passed in equal measure. The Hrethi appeared occasionally, always the same. In, across, out, straight to the third gate. Never toward Terran space, never near Valkyrie, always masked, always hidden in background traffic. No probes, no scans, no inquiries, no search. If they were looking for anything, they concealed it perfectly. Valkyrie watched, recorded, waited. Nothing happened. When the patrol finally ended, they returned quietly. No escort, no ceremony, no announcement. Arclight Station received them as if they had never left. Routine docking, standard clearance, minimal attention. Mercer and Hale's appointments were made permanent. No debate, no delay, just confirmation. It had already been decided. 5 expeditionary replacements waited. Trained, vetted, prepared. One was familiar. The soldier who had been transferred earlier. The one who had pledged to remain connected. The one who had promised not to disappear. He bowed. To Rain. To Maya. To Ward. To Wolf. A small smile. Then he crossed the deck. To her. The woman he had left in another's care. He stopped. Lowered his head. Spoke quietly. Repeated the vows. Not as memory. As commitment. He offered himself. Fully. The older, grizzled soldier, the temporary companion, bowed to them and smiled. Then he turned. Went to the woman who had lost her partner on the Hrethi ship. Asked her to walk with him. He had known loss before. She studied him. A long time. Then nodded. They exchanged vows. No witnesses, no ceremony. Just understanding. No transfers out followed. Afterward, as the reunited companions stepped aside, Rain noticed the small details. The spacing, the privacy, the absence of supervision. No officer hovering, no administrative presence, no formal recorders, no mandatory witnesses, just quiet acknowledgement. Respect. Procedure adjusted to reality. The returning soldier paused as he passed, met Rain's eyes, then glanced toward Maya, once, subtly. A question. Rain followed the look. Understood. Maya noticed, too. Her expression softened. They listened, she said quietly. Rain nodded. Months earlier, after her anger, after her demand, after she had told him plainly that this was something he had to fix, he had acted, not publicly, not emotionally, methodically. He had sent command a document, not a complaint, not a threat, a framework, companion operational standards, grief cycles, pair bond integrity, separation protocols, replacement ethics, reunification procedures, boundaries, autonomy, respect. Everything she had fought for. Everything he had promised without saying so. He had expected it to be filed, archived, ignored. Instead, it had been implemented. No announcements, no credits, no attribution, just policy shifting. Silently, to fit reality, to fit them. The soldier passed without another word, but his message was clear. We were treated right. Maya reached for Rain's hand, briefly, squeezed. Not gratitude, recognition. You kept your word. Rain exhaled slowly. Not relief, confirmation. The system could learn. If someone was willing to carry the weight of making it learn. Quietly. Paladin remained, Ghost remained. Valkyrie kept them. She was theirs now. Far away, in a secured conference chamber, the incident was discussed. No recordings, no transcripts, no assistants, only cleared personnel. Vice Admiral Elaine Hartwell sat at the table, lower in rank and authority than Admiral Reed, senior enough to matter. Across from her sat Lieutenant General Marcus Calder, grizzled, scarred, Expeditionary's most senior commander. Strategic operations and expeditionary oversight. They spoke quietly, carefully. The Hrithi have made inquiries, Hartwell said. Military channels only, not diplomatic. Calder nodded. They're searching for their missing ship. Not officially, she replied, but they've implied consequences. If they find proof, Calder said. War, Hartwell finished. They let that settle. The relief of Havelock was unprecedented, she continued. Necessary, Calder replied. Some captains objected. Few. And the ones who did? Reassigned? Quietly? Non-jump vessels? Granted their wish. Most regretted it. Calder leaned back. If the Hrithi had succeeded, he said, the damage would have been catastrophic. Militarily. Diplomatically. Politically. Governments, Hartwell added. Possibly, Calder agreed. One relieved captain, she said, was cheaper. By orders of magnitude. After a pause, Calder asked, Do you know what Lazarus is? A super soldier program? Hartwell guessed. He shook his head. No. Longevity. Controlled life extension. For service members. They delay aging. Extend functional years. Let people serve longer. And still have lives afterward. Hartwell frowned. That's ambitious. It's necessary. He tapped a display. Rain is Lazarus. One of the first. 150 test subjects. After 4 years, 4 remain. Her eyes widened. 4. Too little dosage. They aged normally and died. Too much neurological collapse. Instability, suicide, psychosis. Some had to be terminated. Success through failure, Hartwell murmured. We're integrating the survivors into his care, Calder said. Eventually, Rain's profile scrolled past. Assignments, evaluations, psych markers, performance indices. He's solving problems we haven't named yet, she said. Yes. Will you give him expeditionary? Calder shook his head. No. He has to take it. It can't be given. It has to be earned. Or failed. He paused. But I'll clear his path. Quietly. Let him build. And if someday, she asked, a General Rain comes to you? Calder smiled faintly. I'll hand it over. No complaint. Back aboard Valkyrie, none of them knew. They were working, training, maintaining, living. Together. Rain stood in the observation bay, stars sliding past, Maya beside him, Ward and Wolf behind them. Paladin and Ghost moving through familiar corridors again. No tension, no doubt, no unfinished business. Only forward. 18 months of silence had forged them, not into weapons, into certainty. And whatever was coming next, they would meet it. Together.